Thought I'd give you a tour of my Ron Paulk inspired work trailer. I needed this trailer because I've been working out of a 12-foot box truck for, God, I don't know, 10 years. I've just accumulated so many tools and stuff that just was running out of room. It stressed me out every time I rolled the door up on that truck. You just couldn't walk in there most of the time. You had to trip over stuff every time you tried to get to the front to get something. It just got to be where it was a nightmare. So decided to buy this trailer. It's a 7x16 V-nose trailer, and I've been building on this for about a month now. I wanted to build this trailer with limited tools. Here's a picture of the tools that were used to build 99% of this trailer. As you can see, I've got a cheap, I think this is a $45 Craftsman skill saw, a couple of cordless drills, an impact and a drill, a finish nailer and a brad nailer. So I did not want to use a shop. I had a friend of mine that's got a full cabinet shop, so I could come over. He's got the table saws, he's got everything. But I wanted to do this with limited tools on a limited budget, just to show that it can be done, for one thing. Plus, I just kind of wanted the satisfaction doing it myself. The way I ripped all my wood and crosscuts too is I built, here's a picture of the track that I built, the track that fits this saw. This is an 8-foot track. I also built a 5-foot track. That really made ripping the wood just easy. Basically just measure out, put the track on the marks, and cut. That's all you had to do. It was much better than the way I tried to do it last time in my old truck. I brought the Craig Rip Cut Jig. Worked okay, definitely has its limitations. What I found with that is when you get to the end of a piece of plywood, it starts wanting to push out more. The guide on that thing rides along the edge of the board, and it works pretty good when you're in the middle of the board. When you get to the middle though, it gets really hard and it just didn't work. So yeah, anyway, when you get to the end of the board, it doesn't work too good. Track's way better. That is definitely the way to go. Now, I built everything in here. The drawers were the very last thing that I did. Well, basically last thing. I did a few little finishing touches stuff after the drawers, but when I got to the drawers, I couldn't figure out how to do those without either a table saw with a dado in it or a router table, which is what I went and bought. I was at Lowe's. They had a Cobalt router and router table. This router, I'm sure if you're a cabinet maker, you would probably be able to recognize the difference between this and a high dollar router. I can't. For me, that worked great. The router table worked excellent. The fence for me, it was great. The fence, once you got the fence moved where you wanted it, locked in, the fence didn't move. It was there, no problems. So yeah, I used the router table with a 1/2-inch straight cutting bit to make the rabbets for the front of the drawers and the dados down the sides for the drawer sides to slide in. So I'll just take you guys back here at the back and we'll start a tour back there. So I'm going to start the tour right here at the back of the trailer. Back here right now, I've just got a garbage can, a little fan. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this area. I think I'm going to build another shelf here to hold my tapes. Sure, I want to be able to get a whole case of tape in there. I've got my paddle wheels here. They're hanging here just on these little conduit clamps. Then I've got this shelf here that I built mainly to hold this, because this shelf, the standard View-Tainer shelf in the plans is not big enough to hold this. Also got a first aid kit, which you should have. Just kind of a catch-all right now. I've got my tape here for now, but like I say, that's probably gonna go on another shelf, a little radio. And I've got the battery charging station here. I've got all my battery chargers. Yes, I use Ryobi tools, screw guns. I've had real good luck with them. I know a lot of people don't like Ryobi, but they've been great for me. just got a Milwaukee screw gun, and actually my son works with me, says he likes the Ryobi's better. Then we got battery station here with charged batteries on the bottom. Discharge batteries here, which probably won't get used much because as soon as they're dead, we usually put them on the charger. Nothing really up here in this top shelf yet. I'm not sure what I'm going to keep up there. Just got a few clamps here. Up here, I've got my drywall sander. I've got 2 sets of zip walls for dust. Right now I'm keeping a couple of levels up here and a straight edge. I've still got to build a place for them. I'm not sure exactly where I'm going to put those yet. And I got a little bit of dead space back there. I got to figure out something to go there. Then of course I got the tool cubbies. I've got screw guns, corded screw guns. We don't use these much anymore, but I got them on the truck in case I need them. Jigsaw, probably won't use that too much on the job. I got my big drill for stirring up mud. A Sawzall. Right now I've got this label maker in here. I don't know what'll go in there later on, but I've got my skill saw, big router, a couple of nail guns. Shop vac bags are going in here. These are some spare shirts I had out the other day. Got screw guns, cordless router, corded router, which hardly ever gets used, but I've got it on there just in case something happens and I need it. A couple of cobalt drill and an impact. Cobalt blower, where this is really handy, blowing the trailer out, blowing off people's driveways or whatever. Blowing off when you're dusty. Staple gun. $10 mixer from Dollar General. It's great for mixing up hot mud 1 pan at a time. This one's empty. I've got staple guns here. I've got a couple of oscillating saws in these two slots. That one's pretty tight. Keeping some knives in here, 10, 12s, and just some random smaller knives. Another corded screw gun here that came with my framing nailer. I've never even used the thing. And then I've got 14-inch blade for wiping down. I was going to show you this later, but we can put them on this handle up here, wipe everything down up to 11 foot from the floor. Anytime you can spend off of stilts doing drywall is a good thing in my opinion. Spent a lot of years walking around on stilts. I don't care to anymore. And then we got this big sucker here. I've still got to build a place to hold this. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but 40-inch wide wipe down knife, flattest butt joints I've ever had. 26 years I've been doing this. Love this thing. Now about the construction, I mentioned before about doing this on a budget and not having the tools. I did not have the router when I built the cubbies. So what I did was I've got strips. This is 1/2-inch plywood on the bottom and the top that hold 1/4-inch Luan. Spaced them a 1/4 inch apart. Works great. It's a great alternative if you don't have the router and can't do all the dados. First, I just got a 1/4-inch Luan here to stop the dividers from coming out, stop the tools from coming out. Up here on the top cubby, I use these little 1-bys. My thought on that was it would be faster and cheaper to do it that way because I just set my miter saw up with a saw, chopped them up the same length. It was really quick, but I did lose a lot of space, you know, as far as my height that way. So I probably wouldn't do that again. And now I've got the router, so next time if I do build another one of these, I'll definitely be doing the dados. So on the cubbies, in the plans, there's another set of large cubbies that's supposed to go up here, but I didn't have room. This trailer is only 74 inches, I think, and I needed extra room under the drawers, which I'll show you that in a minute. So I didn't have room for the cubbies up here. But these are the same length and the same height here as the plans. These are exactly as the plans are, except I built them out of 1/2-inch plywood instead of 3/4 because I was figured with using the strips and everything, I'd just save some weight there. and actually save a little some money. So some of the drawer bases, I did the same thing with those as the cubbies. I went with 1/2 inch plywood on the sides, 1/2 inch plywood for the strips, but all the drawers work just like that. You can see I've got these pieces of oak. I just chopped these up. It comes in this width, and I just chopped these up on the miter saw. It was a little bit of a pain, but it worked and made more than enough stops for the drawers. So if you don't know about these drawers in Ron's plans, drawers just have this notch cut out in the front. When you slide them in, they slide on top of those stops, and they just slide back behind there, and they won't come out. Great design. I decided to just go with an extra 7-inch drawer, which gave me 3 of the 3-inch drawers down here, and then I wanted to go with a 10-inch drawer to put paint buckets, etc. In that one. So it actually worked out great because I've got a big drawer here for fasteners. It works out great. So in this drawer I've got just pliers, screwdrivers. I have not organized any of these drawers yet. I'm going to get the foam, forget what you call it, the foam pieces that you put in here and cut it out, probably, although that is a lot of work, but I am definitely going to organize it. So yeah, pliers, screwdrivers, side cutters, stuff like that in here. This is my sanding drawer, which I'm out of sandpaper for my sander right now, but I'm gonna sanding sponges. These discs I don't really use anymore for the sander. I'm almost out of plastic too. I've been doing a big ceiling scraping job. I used up all my plastic, but masking tape and plastic goes in this drawer. Contractor bags, very important. Another set of contractor bags, some furniture sliders, and then I'm not sure what else I'll be putting in this drawer. This is my electrical drawer. Again, this is not organized either. Anything electrical's in here. I do drywall, but I'm not the typical drywall guy. A lot of drywall guys, they show up, and if something needs to be done, they'll load their truck up and go home. If I can do it myself, I just soon do it and keep the job rolling on. And you know, whether I charge for it or not, that's not really that important as it is just to keep the job going. So I try to keep stuff that I may need. I got a moisture meter too, you know, wire nuts, anything electrical is in here. Bits and blades. Picked these up at the Dollar Tree. I'm not 100% thrilled with them, but they work pretty good for Sawzall blades, and I've got oscillating blades over here. You do drywall, you got to have a lot of number 2 Phillips bits. I've got some drill bits in here, more bits and drivers in here that I need to take out and organize a different way. Paint tools in here. So a lot of stuff is on a job right now. This drawer actually is pretty full when all that stuff is in here. Any kind of protective gear. I've got a Tyvek suit in here for when we're spraying, dust masks, knee pads, stuff like that. Some extra dividers for the cubbies. Fasteners. Any kind of fastener is going in here, and I've got to order some of those little plastic bins I'm going to put the nails in, because those boxes just get torn up. And of course you can see that it's kind of a mess in here right now, but all this stuff will be put in bins. Glue, we glue and screw drywall, no nails. If you see a drywall hanger with nails, run them off. We glue because it cuts back on nail pops, and it just works way better. Funny thing is, I hadn't paid for a single can of this glue. It's all been given to me as samples to try. Got enough in there to last me a good while. Laser, I've got this cheap Skill laser in here. I'll probably be upgrading that, but I hardly ever use a laser, but when I need it, I need it. I've got some crown templates back there because I suck at cutting crown, and some bullnose templates, which don't do very much bullnose. Router stuff, well, this drawer is mostly empty, so I'll be putting some more stuff in here, but anything to do with my big router or the little routers, the drywall routers are in here. I got my Craig tools back here, and just random parts up here. This is kind of a catch-all right now. These little things, got them on Amazon. I'm hanging my handles up. I'll show those to you here in a little bit. Work great. Hose repair, just random stuff. Use these if I ever have to spray doors. Take the doors off, put these on, screw these to the top of the doors and arrange them like an accordion style, where it's great for spraying doors. I've got all my hanging tools in here. I'm short on tape measures right now. They keep breaking and I haven't taken them back. These little kickers are great. Just put them in your pouch and they're with you. You don't have to go looking for these big ones. And then a big drawer that's got only one can of paint right now in it. I've still got other paint on the job right now. Some hot mud. Caulk is going to go in here. I'm running low on caulk, spackling, and painter's putty. So underneath the drawers right now, I've got a bunch of mud in here, but I've got a couple of hanging benches. And then I'm just keeping buckets of screws. I keep screws in buckets a lot of times. That way we just grab them, take them in on the job, and it's easy to keep a couple boxes of screws in there. Back here, let's see. Yeah, I think I got one bucket of mud back here now, and that'll be more mud storage when I've still got buckets on the job too. So. In here, I keep all my wet tools. I got my pump, an old taper. We still use that for some small jobs. Angle box, the angle heads are in there. A 10 and 12 inch box. I've heard people say before, I don't use tools because it takes too long to clean them up. Well, what cleanup? You throw them in a box with water, be done with it. All right, so moving on up here to the front, these hose reels, I'm gonna tell you that's one of the best things. I have loved this so far. We've been using the trailer for 1 week now. Today's Saturday, Monday will make a week. These things are awesome. I've got this power comes in, this 100-foot 10-3 cord. You just pull it out. I've got a hole down there in the floor. It's got what's called a pullet on it. Electricians use those when they're pulling wires. Works awesome. Pull this cord out, and then I've got this pigtail here coming to this breaker, and of course that operates the lights and the plugs that are back there for the battery chargers and stuff. And I've got a plug here from air compressor. This is not permanent. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with the air compressor. When I get it mounted where I want it, I'm going to have a hose that runs from the air compressor to the back of the truck without having to pull this one out. But yeah, these are great. It's really simple. Take them apart, take all the water stuff out of them, put this in here. You just zip tie your cord or your air hose. It rolls up really easy. This cord, I always hated rolling this cord up when I had to have it out on a job. It's so heavy. And I only have to roll it up when we're done for the day, the last day usually, and my arms are already wore out from sanding and whatever. So this thing just rolls up. It's a dream. Same thing with this is a 100-foot air hose, but this one's not trouble to roll up, but it's just so handy to have it there and just pull it out. Of course, it's got a fire extinguisher. I've got this little hanger. I just picked this up at Lowe's for these mops we use for wiping down the walls and ceilings. Do that from the floor too. Again, anytime I can stay off stilts, I'm going to stay off stilts. Done my time on them, don't want to do no more. Broom, a couple floor scrapers. And I've got room here. I feel like this is not being utilized very well, so I'm probably going to try to redo this. My nose cabinet, my big vacuum goes here, but it's on the job. We've been using it like crazy this week. I've got another vacuum that's going to go here. I have not purchased it yet, but it'll go here. Of course, then I'll have to find somewhere to do something to do with these. These bucket locks too, if you can find those, I can't find them anymore. I'm glad I bought a bunch of them when I first found them. These are great. No more tearing up your legs. The buckets just slide in there and lock. They're great. Okay, so my paint sprayer has actually got 3 different methods, passive methods to keep it in. Of course, I got this so it can't slide all the way out this way. Back here, all the way on the back, over the top of the legs, I just put 2 little blocks so it can't topple over. If it does happen to slide forward, the shelf's at the height where it really can't topple all the way over. It's not going anywhere. Plus I keep the hose in there anyway, which just a little extra. So, and of course this little bucket I got all the parts for it, the screens and all that stuff. So up here, I'm not sure I've not figured this out yet. I've got this paint tray up here now and some parts for the vacuum nozzles and stuff. I'm not sure what'll go up there when it's all finished. Over here to the right of the nose cabinet, I've got a pressure washer for now. This is not going to stay here. I just put this on the truck because I'm going to need it Monday. I've got this here. I've been putting my 4-foot ladders here and bungee strapping them. That's not going to be the way it winds up when it's finished. I'm going to build a little shelf so the ladders can sit on there, and all you got to do is pick them up off that and it'll hold that. These little things are great. They're magnetic, telescoping, so you just stick one on the tongue of the trailer right behind the ball part of the coupler. Stick one right behind the ball or in front of the ball on the hitch. Line these up. Works great for hooking a trailer up by yourself. For now, I'm putting squares here. I've got 1 T-square here, carpenter square here. I've got these foldable. These are my main T-squares here. I love these because you can do all kinds. These are work for all kinds of stuff. These foldable ones. And I've got my 54 up here. It's just kind of wedged in there. It's not going anywhere. Okay, and then I've got my closet area here. I've got a spare sweatshirt. I did have a couple pairs of a couple of t-shirts on here that I actually changed into this week, so I need to restock there. Got my bags. I don't buy fancy leather bags. These work just fine for me. And then I've got all my extension cords hanging here. These Rapids Velcro. Found these at Lowe's. Really like these a lot. They're just zip tied on here. The cords go in here, and then each cord has its own Velcro. Makes everything real easy. I've got another big 100-foot cord here just in case I need it. Water hose. The hose for my sander. And then I've got a cable here that I lock up scaffolds with when I have to leave them on jobs. Then around here on the front side, I've got stilts. They're bungeed in now. I want to figure out a better way to do it without the bungee strap. This right here is also probably not finished. I'm going to try to do something different here. I'm not sure what yet. I keep my shoes because I usually change out of my work boots when I come in. Got a sprayer back there we use for spraying sealants before we scrape popcorn, sledgehammer. My spray rig, which doesn't get used much, but when you need it, it's the best tool for the job. Moving on to this back area here, I put a couple of pieces of PVC here to hold caulk guns, and of course the other one's on the job. That worked great. I always used to take them and just kind of hang them somewhere like this, and of course you get where you're going, they're in the floor. Should have done this a long time ago. I've got my big miter saw. Back here, this area is empty right now because this job we're working on, we're scraping ceilings in the entire house. I've got like 40 drop cloths and they're all on the job. But all my drop cloths go here, and they pretty much fill this bin up. It kind of sucks having to use that much space for drop cloths, but when I need drop cloths, I need drop cloths, and I have to have them with me. So I used to keep them in my shop in the backyard, and I'd get there and didn't bring as many as I actually needed, and it's just way better having them with you. I built this little door here. It actually goes up. I got these window locks. I need to work on it a little bit. It doesn't lock sometimes because these things are really dusty, and I figured once we put them in there, just put them in there. Plus they tend to fall out. On my old truck, they would fall out a lot of times if they weren't folded up just perfectly. So I figured that would keep them from falling out. And I've got some more dividers in here that I don't know if I'll ever use them, but there they are. So I put this cubby in last because I couldn't quite figure out what to do with this. I just kind of was storing random stuff up here, and I thought this would work real good. So coming up here to the very front, also metal corner bead. We don't use metal corner bead anymore. This stuff right here, it has a few drawbacks, but a lot better than metal. You use way less mud. You don't get the eggs cracking that you get with metal. Use that for outside and inside off angles. We don't use these for 90-degree inside angles. A roller here for the outside angles, a pair of snips, and then my bead hopper. It's a double barrel, so I can do inside and outside without having to change anything. Then I got another little miter saw here. This may go away and something else go in its place. I'm not sure. I'll really only use this for like cutting dead wood or something like that if I need dead wood put up. In here I've got a bunch of lights, and all the rest of them are on a job. I may try to find a better place for this because this is a big space just for lights. And then I've got boxes of screws in here. Screwed normal. We usually use 1 1/8", so that's what I keep in the buckets. Anything I don't use all the time, I just go ahead and keep them in the boxes. So I've got 1 1/4", I've got some 1 5/8", and then I think some 2" for when we're doing, when we're capping over old ceilings. I got these fans. I've got 2 of these. These work really good for putting in one spot and drying mud quickly, which I have to do a lot. On smaller jobs, you know, you can't make a lot of trips back and forth, so you got to get it dry as quick as you can. So these right here, I can put these in a corner and let them blow into that corner, and they will dry an area really fast. Then I got my framing nailer back here. We use that. We do small framing stuff sometimes, not very often, but mainly for just doing dead wood and stuff like that, if I'm having to put up a lot of dead wood. And then I got 3 brushes that hang back here. 2 of them are on jobs for cleaning up hand tools. Up here on the ceiling, I've got these little clips that are just great. Got these on Amazon. You just slide it up in there, and they're great. I got 2 extension poles, 2 long extension poles. This one is so long, I hope I never have to paint anything that high, but we painted about an 18-foot ceiling a few weeks ago, and that right there was awesome. Heavy, but it works great. Over on this side, I've got extendable poles for my angle tools. Again, I don't want to be on stilts, and I don't want to do anything by hand. I don't have to. It's slow and inefficient, wastes a lot of mud. So these 2 are my angle tools for, I can reach up to 11 foot with these. I can run angles with these. This tool here, that's the handle for these wipe down knives that I showed you earlier. Put that 14-inch wipe down knife on this handle, and then got the boxes on this handle. You can wipe down anything up to 11 foot, and if I wasn't so short, you could wipe down higher than that, but anything up to 11 foot I can wipe down from the floor, run from the floor, wipe it down from the floor. Don't have to get on stilts, don't have to get on scaffold. I've got the short handle here. This thing is almost as old as my oldest kid. It's probably 15 years old. So got this handle here for running angles. Again, I reach this all the way up to 11 foot. So I got these lights on Amazon. These are awesome. This is more light than I can think of any reason I would ever need in here. And they come with everything you need. And that's about it. I'll open the back door and show you the back of where my scaffold storage and stuff like that is. And that'll be about it for the tour. Okay guys, back here we'll start on the bottom. I've got 2 sets of Baker scaffolds in here with the wheels. I'm not pulling all those wheels out to show you how they come out. Just trust me, they come out. You just grab this first one, slide it out, and then you can get all the rest of them out. Wall boards, I got 2 wall boards. Of course, they just slide out. They're pretty tight, but I didn't want them flopping around too much because I knew that would probably do some damage. I got the braces here. There's an extendable wall board that goes here, one of the aluminum, what is it, 8 to 13 foot, I think, wall boards that goes here. It's on the job right now. Right here, I've got my track for ripping plywood. That's the 8-foot track, and then the 5-foot track is in here. And then I still got some plywood left over, a couple of 2x3s, and I keep these 2x3s on the truck for doing like little patch jobs and stuff. They work great when you need some dead wood for a patch. And then I've got my 5-foot track right here, which the stop must have come out because it's too far back. And then here I've just got just a little, Ron calls it a Vutainer shelf. I built it just like the Vutainer shelf he's got, except it's smaller, just to hold stuff. We do a lot of cleaning up. I do a lot of work in customers' houses that they live in, patch jobs, remodels, stuff like that. I do my best to keep their house clean. I try to give it back to them at least as clean as it was when I got there. A lot of times cleaner. So I just got stuff for cleaning here. I'm probably the only drywall guy in the world with Swiffer stuff in his truck. Kills for just doing little stains, which I always have too many because I never remember if I've got any. So maybe having this will help me remember if I've got it. This is good for wiping up any kind of paint spills. Chalk. Mold control, I'll use that if I come across any mold. Big thing of Goo Gone if for whatever, I don't even think I've used it. And then I'll keep my paintbrushes up here, and some of them are on the job too. And that's about it, guys. So as you can see, I did put down a floor. I just went with the cheapest vinyl, what they call it, vinyl plank floor, whatever they call it now. Floor they had. I did do that because this bucket with my wet tools in it sloshes a lot, and like I didn't want it constantly sloshing out and getting on the plywood. And even though it's treated plywood on the floor, like I felt like it would be better if I had a floor down. It only cost me 200 bucks. Actually less than that because I've got a box I can take back, so it cost me like 150 bucks. Plus, I thought with the floor down, I'll be more likely to want to keep it clean, which is something it was a problem in my old truck. I never cleaned it. I should have cleaned it. All right, guys, that's a tour of my trailer. Hope you enjoyed it. So far, like I said, we've only been in this trailer for a week. It has really worked out great. I've still got things to do in it, so I may make update videos later on. Hopefully, maybe you see something you like and maybe it'll inspire you. So yeah. Highly recommend doing this. Appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, I may make some update videos, and I'll see you in another one. We'll cut that part out.